legacy of this Canadian who died in 1981 lives on in scholarships in his name for youngsters who help others. Soumia?
It was Terry Fox.
Terry Fox, yes, I knew you wouldn't miss that one if you read him.
Here are my keys to the game. You need to have that wide knowledge base, right? Like you need to know the fundamentals or the you gotta know stuff. Like you watch the show, you'll see there's so much about geography, about history, but you'll see pop culture thrown in there too. Like they love to, with Final Jeopardy, they love to do Oscar Best Picture winners. So I would say my advice to you is start memorizing things like easy lists like world capitals, US presidents. It's an American show, obviously there's that American bias. Make top 10 lists of your own, like I did, like top 10 longest rivers in the world, 10 key battles from World War II, or the Revolutionary War, or something like that. 10 greatest sports stars, like basketball or baseball, like things like that. Like start categorizing things. Another thing you need to have is lightning speed buzzer skills. And you're probably wondering, how do I practice that if I'm not at the studio? Well, you just take a pen, like a clicky pen, right? So as you're watching the show, you just kind of like time your clicking, which is like ringing in. And that's the other thing. You have to ring in at a certain point. You can't ring in while he's reading the clue because you get locked out. You have to like do it right at the end. There's like that sweet spot, and then you ring in, and then you get called. And then, of course, betting strategy, which no one talks about, or very few people. And you have to know, right? Like when you get a daily double, how much do you wager? If you're in a commanding lead, you can afford to wager quite a bit. If you're in a distant third, you might as well bet it all to give yourself a chance to keep playing the game. And Final Jeopardy too. And I'll talk a little bit about that in my personal experience. So if you have these three things, you're going to set yourself up for a great game. Like you'll be a great player. But another thing I want to mention, and I kind of touched on it, is when you watch the show when you've watched it for as many years as I have, you really start to recognize patterns, like word association. So you might, and that's how you speed read, right? Like you kind of read the clue very quickly. You might see if the category is like art and artists, and you see water lilies. So if I'm seeing water lilies, I'm knowing, okay, it's most likely Monet. So I'm going to get ready to buzz in and take that risk, sometimes without even reading the whole clue. I recommend doing that. But again, remember, this is like, you got to be quick on the buzzer. You got to think on your feet. So sometimes it's about looking for those patterns, looking for those keywords, and really that's how you speed read. It doesn't just apply to Jeopardy. It applies for so many things in life where you might have, maybe you're starting a new job. You might just have a week to get up to speed on something. How do you find the key facts, the key info that you need, right? So think about that. Think about word association.